and welcome back to the newest episode of On the Grass as we approach our anniversary bringing you this football coaching podcast. Today we're delighted to be joined by Chris Freestone, EFL in the Community Officer. What have you been up to recently in coaching?
To be fair, I've just been really busy delivering lots of courses at the moment, so not much time for anything else.
Brilliant. Once again, thanks for joining us today, Chris. We're going to start off with an icebreaker for you.
Okay.
So, the context, the situation is, it's 30 minutes before a game. You're head coach of a team. It's a massive game, one of the biggest games of the season. And you've got to pick one of the 4 corner models, so that's social, psychological, technical and physical. And you have to pick one, you can't choose any other. You've got 30 seconds to explain why you chose that one. You ready?
Yep.
Okay, ready? Start the timer, Alex. 3, 2, 1.
Psychological, 100% psychological. The game's about mental strength, mental toughness, mental resilience. So with it being such a big game, it's crucial that the players' heads are in it. They understand, that the game swings in roundabouts. It's all about motivation. They could potentially go down, but as long as they're strong in their mind and they completely believe what they truly believe and the work that we've done throughout the week, that they can always come back and win this game. So I'd always deal with psychological.
Look at that. Absolutely.
What a pro. What a pro.
Wow. Brilliant. Good stuff. Pete?
Yeah, so I went on a coaching course with Chris recently, and can you tell us a little bit about, because I thought you worked for the FA, but you work for the EFL in the community, is that right? Can you explain the distinction there?
Yeah, so obviously they're both national governing bodies. You've got the FA, they deal with grassroots mainly. Obviously they've got the England set up, but mainly with the grassroots coaching and the football, the FA learning and stuff like that. And then obviously we've got the EFL that deal with the 72 clubs in the Football League, and then the EFL in the community, which branches off and does basically the charity side of the EFL working with the community trusts. My role is working with the EFL in the community, linking that to one of our biggest programs, which is the USW program, which is University of South Wales. As part of their degree, so there's the foundation degree, there's the BSc, there's the
BA or MSc.
They've got an MSc.
Yeah.
And they've just started with the business degree that we have as well. So we do football and we do sports and business. And as part of that core group of people doing that degree, they get access to the FA qualifications. So that's where my link with the FA and the EFL comes together.
Am I right to say you have an MSc?
Yes,
you do. I had a little
I
stalk
actually
of
did
LinkedIn
one
last night.
Yeah, I had one, yeah. I was on the first cohort that did the advanced performance coaching master's degree. I finished mine in 2019, but I think it was 2017. I did it part time. Really good. There was only 12 of us on it. I learned absolutely loads, and none of it really to do with coaching. Just the other side of it.
Okay, well, what is the other side of it then?
There's a lot of teaching stuff in there. We talked a lot about pedagogy,
Okay.
and different coaching methods and coaching styles and things like that. But actually, there was no practical element to it. I had to learn a lot. I'd never referenced anything in my life. School for me was never a good thing. I was never into school when I was at school.
But you wish you had ChatGPT these days.
I'd have loved it.
They don't know what it is, students.
If
so.
I'm honest, if I'm totally honest, if I could have walked out through the front gate and out the back gate, I would have done. But both my parents were at school.
Yeah.
My dad was a caretaker. My mum was she was like dinner lady, cleaner.
Yeah.
So they both had jobs in the school, so I never got away with it. So I had to go. And I actually probably learned more educational wise when I finished school.
Yes.
Just for my own sort of learning development, hence the masters. I actually wanted to. I was considering going on my pro license at the time, and it was a pro license, and I got offered the opportunity to do the masters. So I was struggling to get on the pro license because I wasn't working with a club at the time. So they offered me opportunity to go on the masters, and I was like, well, I've not done a degree before, I've not done anything like that before, but it was all about University of Life,
yes,
which is having different people on there at different levels. But there were some university students that had gone through school, college, university, right up to the masters, and then there was a couple of us that literally went from school into life, and then back into education, which made a good group of people, and some of them are actually doing very, very well. In fact, Des Buckingham is he was Oxford manager just recently.
Yeah.
He's been out in India managing. He's been all over the world.
And he was on that course.
Yeah, and there's a few more that are working still in the game now, which
Yes.
is fantastic. So, yeah, it was a great course.
And education. I mean, here we are at the University of Derby. We've got Amy on the journalism course. We've got Dan who's been through his
Also has
marketing.
an MSc, by the way. Throw that one in.
Yeah.
There's only a few of us.
What do you look for? Because we had an interesting exchange. Our first, although you don't remember me from when you were playing, I was reporting on you 30 years ago.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah, but what do you look for in a learner? You're on a UEFA-C. We might have grassroots coaches coming to this and looking. What do you look for in a UEFA-C learner?
I just want them to be engaged. I want them to be curious, and I want them to want to learn. You know, coaching is all about being on the grass. They can do as much research as you want.
Yeah.
You can do as much reading as you want. You know, I always tell them I've got a fantastic book out, but I won't talk about that. But like, you can do a lot of research, and you can watch a lot of things. You know, you've got YouTube and all of those. There's a million so-called experts on YouTube and
Yes.
social media at the moment, and people will watch that, but it doesn't make them a coach. You know, I want actual learners that want to learn. They want to take what we give them and go and explore and use it in their own environments.
I saw you talk about opportunity on a recent LinkedIn post, which
Yes.
stood out to me. Do you want to explain that a little bit? Because I saw it last night and I thought that would be a great talking point for the podcast.
I'm trying to remember which one it was. I put quite a lot out just recently. There's
Which one you got in mind, Dan? Go on.
I can't remember exactly what the post was, but you talk about too many coaches make the mistake of not taking an opportunity. Something
yeah.
similar to that.
Yeah,
I thought it was really nice.
It's around. Look, there's opportunities everywhere, and a lot of people won't take them when they're given. They expect something else. It'll
Yeah.
come around again, and they'll
Yeah.
have another go at it again. And for me, I just go, look, the best thing you can do is when an opportunity comes, is take it. And if you fail, then you fail. But if you never take it, you're never going to fail, and you're never going to succeed. So you might as well have a go, and you might as well fail at it.
Yeah.
But you never know, you might actually succeed, in a nutshell, which is what the post was all about. But
Fantastic.
it's just about having those opportunities.
That really resonates, actually. And when we were on that course, so it's a UEFA-C. I've done my level 2 before, a couple of times actually, and I just wanted to refresh because there are some differences, aren't there?
Yeah,
But
lots.
your teaching style, your coaching style, but first of all, your teaching style in the classroom. Like I had my new class this week with Amy's lot, and my teaching style is very different from yours. Can you explain what yours was that day and why it was? I bore the brunt of it, didn't I?
You did. You turned up late, which is a massive no-no for me. So
Fair enough.
I'm a big fan of, look, if we start at 9 o'clock, we start at 9 o'clock. You know, this happened to me, happens in football. In fact, managers will usually say, if we start at 9 o'clock, be there at 10 to.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Don't be there at 9 o'clock. And I'm pretty much of the same mindset, although I can't demand it with these learners. But I can say we start at 9 o'clock. Now, the problem that they have is if they come at 9:01, I've already started.
Yeah.
And I don't like to repeat. I'm not a big fan of repeating myself. The wife wears hearing aids, so she's got one deaf ear. So I repeat myself a lot at home. And I don't like doing it when I'm coaching. So it's all about focus and listening and being there on time. So
Yeah.
when I start at 9 o'clock, and I sound quite intense when I do this, but I go, no, we start at 9, we get everything done and we finish when we needed to finish. So we have a time scale of 9 to 5, but if we finish at 4, we finish at 4. It means we've worked hard and we've got through everything.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable with that. But it is about, doing everything pretty much to a time. It's stuff I learned in football.
Yeah.
But I just like to be, I set my rules out on day 1.
Yeah.
I don't set my rules out on day 5, 6.
Yeah.
I was the same when I was managing and coaching.
Yeah.
It was, this is what's going to happen,
Yeah.
and this is how it's going to happen. It was just, I did the same throughout all my, even when I worked in schools.
And maybe I'm too soft. Maybe it's different backgrounds. Maybe I'm at university. You were working in inner city schools, that sort of thing. But mine's sort of guided discovery, and I like to. So what do you? Even when I'm coaching, I'll be talking to the players and saying, well, you got 2 options. You've received it on the half turn there, and you've looked up. You have got someone going long, someone go. Which is your pass? And I might coach a bit like that. Is yours more directional?
On a coaching course, because I haven't got time.
Okay.
So it's about showing them lots and lots of ideas and lots of experiences, giving them lots of different ways in which they can do things. When I coach, my own teams that I've coached over the years, probably not so much command style, a little bit of guided discovery, a little bit of problem solving where we can, scenario based, because I want them to learn and I want them to get better. Ultimately they've got to go over the white line and make decisions on the pitch. I'm not a shouter from the pitch, never have been. I've worked with people that are shouters on the pitch, and most of the time I either have to get them in a headlock, get them off, get them away and go, look, let them make the decisions, but hold them to account. I hold everybody to account for what they do, and I go, if somebody makes a mistake, then fine,
So
make a mistake.
Finding that balance.
Yeah, 100%. You know,
That's what Steve Pritchard talks about quite a lot. Finding that balance.
It is. It's finding a happy balance with it. You know, some players just need to be told what to do. Yeah. And some players you can ask questions, and some players you can shout at, and some players you got to put your arm around them, and you just got to know your players.
Can I just ask Amy, as a player then, which style of coaching do you prefer to be on the end of?
I don't like the shouting on the pitch. I much prefer you do it, you take responsibility for what you're doing on the pitch, and then at half time that's the chance to speak. I don't like loads of noise going around. It often causes confusion.
I think that's the key word in there is noise. And this is what I try and tell coaches on the courses when they've got the players and they're coaching the session, but they're talking over them rather than stopping it and giving them information. They're talking over the tops like pass, dribble and all those sorts of things. And you go, all they do is they get frustrated because they're not doing it. I said, but that's because it's noise. They're not listening to you, they're playing football, so they're focused on where the space might be, where the players might be, where the goal might be, whatever it is. That's what they're focused on. They're not focused on somebody on the sideline shouting and screaming. I can assure you. My son played for me years ago. Oh yeah. And he used to stick his thumb up because he knew that by acknowledging me, I'd shut up. And I had to tell him if he did it again, I'd bite it off. But it was one of those things. But that's what he used to do. He never did what I asked him to do if I shouted it on the pitch, because he was concentrating on the game, and I understand that.
It's a massive one for Grassroots as well, because these days, if you turn up to any Sunday League game, he's just shouting. I mean, you know, we're trying to do our best to stop that. We have campaigns, but I think you've said it yourself there. It's much more effective, and as Amy's said from her experience, just kind of not shouting, not causing that confusion, and then when you get to half time, full time, have that chat. You know, so
because the other thing is, how do you develop decision makers if you're making decisions for players?
Exactly. Definitely.
So you want to empower players so that is coaching or developing coaches, is it more about trying to sort of help their mindset, a growth mindset, so that they can then help the players make those decisions according to an ethos?
Our job is not to tell them all the answers. As a coach educator, we challenge their thinking. So they'll come on, and some of them will think they're fantastic coaches, and then we challenge their thoughts behind what they're doing. Why are you doing what you're doing? There has to be a reason behind. You stop that session there. Why? And then what's the information that you're going to give to the players for them to understand it? And then when things are going well, I had a young coach on the other day when I was doing a course, and his session was very good. And he stood near me and he went, they're doing everything I want them to do. I said, well, cause yourself some problems.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I was serving the balls in for him because we were short in numbers. And I just played a ball where he didn't want me to play it. And it caused him a problem. All of a sudden, he had to coach something completely different that wasn't on his list to coach.
Gotcha.
And I go, so you have to cause yourself, if everything's going great, cause problems and deal with it. Because it's going to happen in the game.
Yes. Yeah.
It's finding problems and solving them.
I think when we were talking about opportunity before, a while ago now, you took an opportunity to coach on the national stage for the England Learning Disability team.
Long time ago,
just wanted to kind of have a chat, your experience with that, how you had to maybe adapt to different situations. Can you talk us through kind of what it was like?
Yeah, it was. I was working for the FA at the time. Dennis Mortimer was like the manager of the England LD team. And he was also a coach educator, so he was delivering an A licence at the same time the England team were going to Sweden for the European Championships, and he couldn't do both. And obviously one's his day job and one was a little bit part-time, so he asked me to step in and do that for him. So that's how that came about. I jumped at the chance, went there, and I don't mean this in a horrible way, but a lot of the players there, and they won't mind me for saying it because they're a great bunch of lads, but it was like talking to a box of frogs. They're all over the place. You really have to, which is good for my coaching style, especially when I'm coaching, that I can just go, do this, do that, do the other. This is how it works. This is what I want from you, because that's what they need. if I go into the, oh, you could do this, or have a go, what do you think you could do in all my days? They're all
So
over
you
the
had
place.
to change your coaching style.
Yeah, because
completely.
that learning disabilities, it's all about sort of their IQ level, which means they're eligible for the LD team. So it has to be between a certain level for them to be able to play. And most of these young players, they'll be on the streets with their mates at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and they won't think anything twice about it. They don't understand. It's not they don't understand. They're not really, like I say, be there for. We got team meeting at 10 o'clock. Some of them are still want to stroll in at 10 past 10, and we have to nail that down very, very quickly. It's the England badge. You've got this. We're going to do it properly. Once we got it right and we set the rules in place, and again we did it on day one. We was at St George's Park. This is how it's going to work. This is what we're going to do. We went all the way, and we should have won it. Typical England team. My centre forward decided to miss a penalty against Holland in the semi-final, and
a lot of these players played at a high level, though, didn't they?
They were playing it. It was probably a lot of them were playing sort of conference level, but there was no real pathway for them at the time. So now they've got the England teams like 15, 16, 17s, 18s, all that. Back then, 2010, I think it might have been 2012. There was the 21s, and that was pretty much it. 17s and probably the 21s. So there was no real pathway for them. So it was classed as an England under 23 team. But the tournament was open age. So we played Poland, and I think most of the players were older than me at that time that were playing. So the kids playing against men.
Right.
And we matched them because we were better than them. But again, the learning disability part of it, they got drawn into lots of arguments with players.
Okay.
So when somebody was a bit more physical, they want to fight. It's just their natural reaction to want to fight or get, have a little argy-bargy with it, and it put us off. And we ended up drawing that game that we should have won comfortably, which then meant we drew Holland in the semi-final as opposed to France. And Holland were the favourites, the best team. We were 2-0 down. We brought it back to 2-2, extra time, missed a penalty, they scored. I'm not bitter, honestly, but I still remember it vividly. And they went into the final, and we got France in the... So the final was Holland and Poland, and we got the third place playoff against France. And
you won that?
Yeah, we won that 5-0.
Nice.
Master team talk from myself. Motivation. Well, the lads didn't want to play. The learning disability side of it, they just didn't want to play anymore. Then they were almost refusing. So I had to... it was probably the greatest team talk I've ever done in my life. I don't remember a single word of it. It's very passionate. Just got to think, any given Sunday, if you've ever seen a film, best speech ever on a film, mine was like that, and I don't remember a single word. I'm devastated. I don't remember a word. We went out and we beat them 5-0. So got a medal.
That's amazing, by the way. With the FA expanding that side of the game these days, more and more volunteers are looking to get into kind of something similar to what you did. What kind of advice would you say specifically you have for coaching in that situation to grassroots coaches who might be watching?
It's just, look, they have to network. You've got to try and put yourself into a position where you're going to find an opportunity. And if that means going to watch games or going to events or going to conferences or anything like that sort of thing, it's putting yourself in a place where an opportunity could happen, and that's the important thing. It's all football and coaching is all about networking. There's no real pathway to go. I'll just go on this website and I'll go and get myself a job. It doesn't work like that. Most jobs in football come from word of mouth, or somebody or this, that, and the other. It's all about networking.
In terms of coaching disability teams specifically,
yeah.
Do you have anything different in terms of your advice for that?
Learn about coaching at all different levels. I was fortunate. I did under sevens team, my son's team when he was under sevens. I've done women's football. I've done. I never did disability football until then, but I had to go with it. I did courses on it. I did disability courses. I played power chair football, which was brilliant, by the way. It's just to expand, your sort of knowledge across coaching. Yeah. I always say to people, become a student of the game, but they always think it just means the 11v11. And I go, no, go and learn everything, because women's football is completely different to men's football. I learned that very, very quickly. I was coaching with Forest Ladies years ago, and I was trying to coach them the same way I coached their men. but everything's different.
It really is different,
really
isn't
is.
it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's just the way they move, the way they kick the ball, the way they approach the ball, everything.
Psychologically as well,
and
emotionally.
it was a big learning curve for me to do that. You know, because I thought I was just going to step in there and do what I always do, and cause I'm fairly successful with teams when I get them going, when I get the right players and stuff like that. We usually end up being very organised and work, and it was really a big learning curve. Big learning curve. I really enjoyed it. Just hadn't done enough of it since that. Maybe it was my own sort of ego took a knock that I went back into men's football. Maybe.
Why would your ego take a knock? I don't understand. Go on, expand on that a bit.
I suppose it was just, I don't know,
Is the men's game seen as bigger than the women's game?
No, not at all. I think it was just the fact that I find it easier because I've always done men's football and you know, boys and young adults, and even the LD team was men's football, and then I stepped into women's football and find it was completely different. It is completely different. So I almost had to retrain myself, and I think that's probably where the ego took a hit, because it wasn't as easy.
Oh, I see.
So I could step in I'm quite comfortable. I could go and coach anywhere, I think, and I'd be quite comfortable coaching in a men's setup. But when it comes to women, I think my ego took a knock there, because I had to relearn a lot of things.
Thing in a lot of coaches.
Because you think you're just going to walk in and it'd be exactly the same.
Yeah.
And it's not the same. And I think that was it. I didn't know that at the time. I just thought it was coaching.
Yeah.
And football was football, but it's not.
And that's a nice segue into what you wanted to ask about.
I was just going to kind of touch on a bit more about the inclusivity and stuff, and how you kind of have to adapt your coaching style depending on who you're coaching. So obviously, like, understanding individual differences and stuff, how important is that for coaches?
It's crucial. You know, one of the biggest messages I always give on the courses is you've got to know your players.
Yeah.
You've got to know as much about your players as possible. Otherwise, you just coaching the game. And coaching the game won't win your games. Coaching your players and coaching the game will win your games. But it's understanding who needs what, who can do what, who can't do what, who's not great. There's no point in me asking somebody to play a 40-yard crossfield ball if they can't pass 5 yards. You know, I have to understand that. And why can't they pass a 40-yard crossfield ball?
Do you think that's kind of like the key to getting success in successful environments and stuff like that?
I think you look at the best managers and how close they are with their players. You know, look at Arteta at the moment, look at Pep. Klopp was a prime example of it. You know, hug and cuddle everybody, and they run through brick walls for him. You know, that side of the game alone, having a manager like a best mate, even though you know he's still in charge, is amazing. You know, you run through people. I think I read a piece on this morning, just a clip. Martinez says, if you touch my heart, I'll run through a brick wall for you. And I think that's what's happening now at Man United. He's not had a bad game since Carrick's coming. And I think that's really, really important. It's not always the best managers. It's the best managers that understand the players.
Shows like how much a personal impact can have, like, as a team as well. Like,
Definitely.
if you know each individual, that impacts the team.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is where, you know, even at the highest level, the best managers never blame the players when there's mistakes that happen. You know, I've seen over the years goalkeepers trying to play out from the back, gets cut out, concede a goal, and the manager goes, I told him to do it.
Yeah.
So I can't blame him for that. That's what we've worked on in the week. I've told him to do that. It failed. That's my fault. And I think, you know, player will go, cheers, boss.
And you see that even at grassroots level as well, not necessarily just professional. I've had a coach before who's, if you make mistakes, it's on them, but all the winning and the positive stuff is on the players.
Yeah. It's great leadership. For me, I just think it's amazing leadership.
What do you think, like, realistic changes grassroots coaches can, like, implement to kind of increase that inclusivity and also the personal aspects? Like, what
again,
I think
it's just learning as much as possible about anything and everything, and then planning for, I always call it the what ifs. If this is going to happen, what we're going to do. If that's going to happen, what we're going to do. And I think they should, that student of the game side of it is just constant learning all the time, of trying to find different ways to affect different players and different people and different situations and different scenarios. And it's just, no coaching course is going to teach you that. Several coaching courses might.
People massive.
Do as much as possible, and it doesn't always have to be in football.
I agree.
You know, look in other sports. Look at how tennis and cricket. I'm not a huge fan of cricket, but look at my mate is. But look at cricket. Look at other sports and how do they do what they do. You know, and we go, oh, I'm on a football pathway, I'm going to be a football coach, so I'll just look anything to do with football, that's my thing. And I go, well, why? Go and look at, you know, leadership and management and
expand your knowledge. Yeah.
Did you ever experience a coach like being a quite personal level to you in your playing career?
yeah.
Who was that?
I had a manager called Ian McCulloch, who was ex-player.
Yeah.
Used to play for Notts County in Scotland, and when I was at Arnold Town, I was playing non-league football. He literally, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have turned professional. He got me trials through contacts. He even drove me up to Middlesbrough when I signed my contract, because I wasn't driving at the time. So he took me from Nottingham to things, you know.
Yeah.
He phoned me up when I first signed and check on me and stuff like that. It was amazing. He was brilliant. Other people might say differently about him because he's broad Scottish, but he always had that football banter, and he, to be fair, he looked after me. And I had another guy when I was even younger before that, manager called Billy Daft, and he was daft, him and his brother, a pair of them. But they were brilliant, you know. They looked after me. I've had lots growing up, managers and stuff like that. Probably not so much when I got into the pro game.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
When we look about the inclusivity side of it, when you're have you been coached by a woman?
Only for one season I was at Derby County under 17s, and we had the female coach was the lead coach, and then we had two male like assistant coaches. But other than that, like all the way through Grassroots and to now, I've not had.
Who was was that Lauren Taft?
Lauren Taft at Derby.
So what was, and she's very well,
Yeah.
you know, respected around
Yeah.
these parts. Was there anything different about her coaching style compared with the other good male coaches you've had? And was there any better synergy, female to female?
I felt like it was, like we were talking about personal element, I feel like if I had an issue, I feel like I could go and speak to her. It was more approachable. And I
Yes.
think everyone kind of felt the same. Like obviously the male coaches we had were brilliant as well, but I feel like anybody who kind of had an issue, not even about personal stuff, about football stuff, it felt like we could speak to her more because she'd understand it a bit better, and like we're not as like intimidated.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, she's a female, we're a female, like it kind of
Yeah.
helps you like be more comfortable in that situation, I'd say.
That's interesting. So when you were at Forest Ladies then, when was Forest Ladies, sorry?
Oh dear.
Back a while. Before...
Before England stuff, so
Yeah, okay.
Probably, I don't know, maybe 2005, 7, something like that.
And you're an approachable guy. Maybe when you get to know you a little bit more, you're even more approachable. How did you find females come to you being able to talk personally about football stuff compared with males being able to talk to you? Or no difference?
I didn't find there was much difference at the time. I think if you go way back, then there weren't that many female coaches anyway.
Was this in Hope Powell's time, was it?
Well, I think probably she would have just been the England manager.
Okay, yeah.
So it was probably even before that. She was probably the England manager then. But I mean, women's professional football began in 1998 anyway. So you're talking, you know, like early 2000s. Forest Ladies were literally a grassroots
Were
team.
they playing at Eastwood then, was it?
I think they were down at Baseford at the time.
Okay, yeah.
So there wasn't that many sort of female coaches that were or managers at that sort of level. So they were a good level, but it was still a grassroots team before all the WSL and all that sort of stuff. So
But
it was
with
no
the
different.
females...
I think it was. I think for them it was probably just the norm. You know, just another guy coming in and coaching for a while.
Yeah,
I think at that time.
yeah.
You know, and you know, when it comes to women's football, I don't understand at the moment why women are not doing the WSL. Why
Yeah.
all women
Yeah.
are not.
Yeah.
This is
managing
where I'm
women.
kind of...
Yeah.
Well, I'm like this because, you know, there's a lot of female pundits in the men game that people are moaning about, and there's
Yeah.
some really good ones, to be fair.
Yeah.
Um,
Who do you like? Who are your best ones?
Alex Scott.
Yeah, good answer.
Alex Scott's brilliant, you know. And you still got the other ones, the likes of Kelly Dalglish, who's not Kelly Dalglish.
Kelly Cates.
Yeah.
Kelly
Pretty
Cates
good,
and
yeah.
Gabby Arthur and people like that.
Yeah.
They were brilliant as presenters, you know, but they're
Yes.
also good. They know the stuff.
Yeah.
Kate Abdu, she's
Yeah.
brilliant. But they're all presenters and they know their stuff. I think some of the pundits that come on, I think the issue with most people at the moment is like, when have you ever played for Man United or stuff like that? look, they've all had profession. They know football, and some of them speak really, really well. My issue is not with any of them at all. I just think, why is there not any women managers in the men's game?
Okay.
If there's lots of men managers in the women's game.
Do you think that will likely happen in the near future?
No.
Because
they want it to be football, but they still call it men's football and women's football. So it's either football or it's men's football and women's football.
Well, like you say, there's men's managers in the women's game.
Yeah.
So
if it's women's football, let the women do it.
Yeah.
And if it's men's football, let the men do it. Or it's football, let the men and women do it.
But have we not got a broad enough base? Sorry, we're going right off piece, but I think it's interesting. Have we not got a broad enough base of female coaches to be able to get, enough in the WSL?
I think there is, but where do they get? Again, they have to be given opportunities. The young lady, I can't remember her name, she got the manager's job at Forest Green. That was a publicity stunt, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
And I played for Forest Green. But there was for me, that was a publicity stunt. Nothing against Forest Green. I think Doncaster did it with, what's his name, from the One Direction fella.
Is that even your era? It's probably your era, maybe.
Harry was he?
Harry
Styles.
Was he from?
He was
he
One
from
Direction,
Doncaster?
wasn't
He's in
signed-
One Direction.
He's a Derby fan, isn't he, Harry Styles?
No, that's
Niall
Niall
Horan.
Horan. That's a
Is it?
Derby
Niall
fan.
Horan's a massive dog.
Yeah.
It might be the
If
one,
we're talking
one of them
Genesis,
anyway.
I'd be fine.
Well, one of them got signed for Doncaster as
Yep.
it was like a publicity stunt, and obviously Forest Green gave the first young lady the first manager's job in the football league.
Yeah, I
And she
can't remember her
lasted,
name,
like,
but I remember.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks
Yeah.
they got rid of her.
And then it
And I go, well,
ridicules it a bit,
yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
does.
Yeah.
So I go, well, either do it or don't do it. And if they don't give them opportunities, it's the same. It's the same discussion we're still having now about more black coaches,
Yeah.
or black managers in the league, Premier League, in football. In terms, it's the same conversation we've been having for years, and it will be the same conversation with regards to women's.
What Michael Johnson was saying last week was really good about this. He was saying if you can't see it, it's difficult to be
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And having role models ahead of you, people like Michael and Darren Moore is on as well, having those fantastic role models gives young black players something to aim at. But then if you're a young female player, why would you go into coaching if you can't see them breaking through?
Like I play grassroots football, and I think every single week I'll go play a team, or however age. Like I started when I was 11, and I don't think, I could probably count on my hand the amount of times I've seen a female coach coaching the grassroots teams. Like I've only had the one, but other than that, I think every time I go and play, it's always one or two men coaches per team.
I've had some fantastic coaches coming through the courses.
Yeah.
And I always fear that, how far will they go?
Yeah.
They've all got ambition, they all want to go quite high and stuff. But I go, after the course, I don't see them anyway, but
Yeah.
I always think, where they're going to go. If they're not going to give opportunities. Now, a lot of those opportunities will start, and I'm not sure if Michael covered it or mentioned it before, but we did a program called On the Board program. It's a governance program. It's about getting more BAME in the boardroom, because that's where it's going to start.
Yeah.
And until that happens, you're not going to see many, BAME coaches in either.
Agreed.
game.
Yeah. Until they're
But the
helping
board-
make, until the decision makers are broad enough that you've got female BAME, you've got everything, then it's an open field.
Yeah.
Because it's getting it up there. And I tell you the other thing, I find on Grassroots, I was assisting Chloe with Worksworth in a game on Sunday, and she was not Chloe, sorry, Hattie, and she was manager and I was assisting. I was running the line. We were chatting about things. She was the boss. At the end of the match, really good match with Long Eaton, their two male managers who were really good, really respectful. They came walking up to me. Thanks, mate. Good game. I'm thinking, hang on. Why should I be the manager?
Yeah.
I think, and they're good guys, don't get me wrong, but the expectation is that the white male will be in charge. How do we break this down?
I think from an FA point of view, we are obviously doing everything we can, and I think the women's game is growing massively. It really is growing massively, and it's growing fast. I think, and like I say, the work I do at Derbyshire FA, I'd say 60% of it revolves around growing the women's game. The work the development team do, Steve Pritchard, Alex Walker-Ash, a lot of it, we've got a few sessions coming up. So I do think if we carry on in this direction, we will break those stereotypes. I really do.
Yeah.
It might take another 5-6 years. Realistically, let's be realistic about it. But I do think it will get to a point where those stereotypes will be broken. What do you think about that?
Well, what we can do is keep doing what
exactly.
you're doing, you know, and then
You've got to be
hopefully
patient.
it happens. The women's game has grown. It's grown huge. It's ridiculous how fast it's grown, and it's fantastic that it has grown that much. But it was the same with the players. You know, you look at most of the teams around the world, you'll see a lot of black players, but not a lot of black managers.
Yeah.
So it's a thing that's been going on for a long time, and we're still talking about it now. I was talking about it when I was playing, I was talking about it before I was playing, and we're still talking about it now. So something has to change, somewhere, and again, until it changes in the boardroom, it's not going to change. And I'd even say that'd be the same in the women's game. I just think, like I said before, it's either the men's game, the women's game, or it's just football.
Yeah.
And then there's got to be a decision made on that somewhere, because there's some fantastic women coaches and managers out there that when I watch the women's game when it's on Sky Sports, and all I see is a lot of men, and apart from the odd, you know, big team where Emma Hayes is working with USA now, but when she was at Chelsea, but there's not many. And I know some of them. So I know Rhiannon Skinner at Tottenham, Potter at where's she now? She was at Rangers, she's just moved somewhere. But anyway, I know those because I worked with them.
Yeah, she was at Notts County, Jo Potter, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and but they were all in the skills programme when
Yeah.
I was working for the FA.
Sam Griffiths.
Sam Griffiths, she's doing Derby.
Yeah.
So there's some really good coaches out there, but you know, when you watch the game, you see them on the Sky Sports, and you see man. Oh look, there's a woman. And you go, come on, there's something wrong.
Is there too much pressure? If Sam Griffiths was to go and get a job in the WSL, would there be too much focus? Would it be too much pressure?
I don't think so. I think if everybody got a job in the WSL, all the women got one of the jobs then there would be, I think, to start with at least. Because there's always going to be that perception that men are better than women, and we know more, and we've been around more, and we know more about football, but we don't.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, we don't. You know, you learn as much as you learn. It's like I say, go away, learn as much as possible, and go onwards and upwards, and get your opportunity. That's it for me. Keep it simple. No greys, black and white.
And we'll get back onto topic a little bit more.
Sorry.
Interesting stuff. No, it is really interesting. It's really good because we haven't actually talked much about the women's game on the podcast, so that's nice. Going back to your playing career, I think we talked about some people that you trusted, that you were close with. In terms of coaching specifically, were there any managers? Obviously, you played at quite a lot of different levels, a lot of different teams as well. Were there any coaches or people that influenced the way you coach now that you can pick out?
Not when I was playing non-league. You know, it was about winning games, being organised, everybody understanding their roles. That was when I was at Arnold, Eastwood and places like that. So not so much there. I think I probably got my most amount of coaching when I went to Middlesbrough. Yeah. So there was a gentleman there. The coach was John Pickering, passed away now, but unbelievable coach. He was the type of coach that would travel to Brazil to go and watch some coaching sessions and then bring it back, adapt it and to sort us. So obviously my manager. So we had Brian Robson, Viv Anderson, and Gordon McQueen as the three staff members for the first team and the reserves. But John did all the coaching. Those three just played football. They were great managers. There's a difference between managing and coaching. They were great managers. So don't get me wrong. So Viv, if you're watching, don't tell me off. Don't shout. But they were brilliant. But they played a lot in the games because they'd not long been players. They literally. I think Brian. I said call him Brian. Call him Gaffer still. Gaffer. I think he signed as when he got the job as player manager, so he was still registered. Viv was still registered. I think it was only Gordon that wasn't. But John Pickering, unbelievable coach, and really sort of made me think a lot about how I wanted to coach, what I was going to do, and how I was going to do it. And again, learning from other people and not thinking that I know everything. Going watching other people coach, and all coaches are thieves, so we steal everything. We're like magpies, honestly. We nick everything, and we adapt it to suit what we have. And this is the point I try and get across to coaches. you could go on Google and, you know, everybody always asks me for session plans. And I go, well, you could go on Google and type, you know, soccer session plans in on Google. You get about 47 million hits.
Yeah. How do you siphon it?
It's really interesting because the last few guests you've had on, you've all said the same things.
Yeah.
About stealing is fine,
Yeah.
but just put your own twist on it and adapt it, and that's what makes
47 million
the better coach.
sessions. Absolutely no point.
Yeah.
And I did the
Yeah,
same when
Darren
I
Moore said
started coaching.
Yeah.
I did the same. I used to have a lever arch folder like that of sessions that I just printed off Google, and I'd go and try and coach them with my under sevens, my son's team. And I was just wondering why
It was Clinton Morrison. That's who said it. He said exactly that. He said what makes a great coach is like you say, it's not just taking things from Google.
Yeah.
Or, you know, we've seen the same things a million times. So how do you put your own twist on things?
There's actually not that many sessions in the world.
Yeah.
There isn't. They're all adaptations of other sessions. The original sort of level 1 that Les Howie developed years ago, Let the Game Be the Teacher, and there was 18 sessions in that.
Right.
There's not many more than those 18 sessions. I can honestly, truthfully say that. There's adaptations of those sessions.
Yeah.
Expanded on them, just adapted them to suit what you get. You could go and watch. I remember seeing a Man United session years and years ago. I don't know what I was doing there, but I remember seeing a session. It was a session from the level 1. When you strip it right back, you go, oh, it's actually from the level 1.
Yeah.
But you have to adapt it to suit that level and that level down there, and that's the importance of any single session. And that's what I learned. I learned that from the likes of John Pickering, that I could go, like, he could go to Brazil and go and watch some of the greatest teams, go to Spain and go and watch them, come back. His sessions, I'd go, brilliant, and the way he coached them, I go, fantastic. And I go, and then I think back, because my plan, I didn't really have a plan. My plan was to stay in football forever. It's not to be a coach. So when I was playing, I wasn't thinking about when I was finishing. But when I finished, then I think back about the managers and the coaches that I have, and then I go, well, actually, John Pickering was by far the best.
Yeah.
By far the best. He was a proper student of the game, and I stole loads from him.
Yeah. And going back to your UEFA C, when you were putting that on at the racecourse hub the other week, and a lot of the basic moves, you're saying to the students there, or the aspirant coaches, is, okay, here's the core moves, let's work through them, we can understand those quite quickly, up, back and through, or whatever, wall pass, but then they go and put their spin on it.
Yeah, because, I mean, the actual session plans are in the pack. So I could give them and say, just go and deliver that this afternoon. Exactly. You know, all the information's on there, the diagrams, the setup. And I go, well, what's the point? We go, well, actually, think about your own team.
Yeah.
Use that as a template. The core moves is what I want to see. If you want to use the setup, use the setup, but think about your own team.
Yeah.
Because then I want them to go away and practice it with their own team. Because that's the important thing. There's no point doing something for me with people that they don't know.
Make it
they're just
real.
going to play.
Yeah.
Go and make it real.
I think that's the best piece of advice for these grassroots coach watching right now. I think we've heard it 3 or 4 times now, and I think that is the golden advice right there. Go away. Go to, you're only going to train once a week, most of them.
Yeah.
Go away. Don't do the same thing every week. Don't steal your things off Google. Put your own twist on things. I think it's massive. You know, we've heard it so many times now. So
Yeah, it is really important. You know, understand what your players need. You know, if you link it to your game, so what are we working on this week, and try and make it a specific session. I think anybody could coach, but most people will coach a general session. Good coaches will always coach specific sessions.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing, is make it specific to your players. Because anybody who knows anything about football could put a session on. Anybody. And they'll stand on the sideline and they'll motivate and they'll, brilliant, fantastic, let's move it on. And that's general coaching for me. It doesn't make a good coach.
Yeah.
I see it all the time. I see it a lot. I go down to a club and I see it all the time. Great motivators, high-fiving people. You know, someone's just shanked one over the bar and you give them a high five. Oh, great effort. It's not great effort, you missed. Good coaching. You know, but the little things that go, well, there's all right motivating people and there's all right high-fiving someone for the effort. And go, you got a goal there with no goalie in it. You shouldn't be missing the target. Coach him what's wrong. That's specific coaching. And then give him some detail what's going to help him make sure that ball goes in the back of the net. That's him or her, by the way. Don't shout at me. It's a habit. But that's what's going to help them.
Yes.
Put the ball in the back of the net, not giving them a high five because they've missed the target because it was a good effort.
but also not shouting at them.
But not shouting.
Yeah.
There's that balance
Yeah.
once again.
Again, it's the balance. but
Managing your people.
They have to, sessions have to be specific to the players.
Yes.
Otherwise, you might as well just download them off Google.
What's next for you, Chris? You've done your book, your coaching book. You do your coaching down at Northampton, your commentary down at Northampton. You're working for the EFL in the community trust in the community. You're doing your FA. You've got this whole smorgasbord of football stuff. What else is for you?
Funnily enough, I've just started a little business. It's called 24 Global. The idea behind it is to help and support coaches, players, possibly even parents find their pathway, but with clarity. Just honest answers, and just sit down with people and work through what's their pathway. People will go and train loads, players will train lots and lots, but not really get anywhere.
Yeah.
Coaches will do loads and loads of courses, but ultimately don't really know why they're doing them. The idea behind it's like a bit of a consultancy business. Is just supporting players and coaches on their pathway and trying to give them some guidance on where they can go and how they can get there.
What's it called again?
24 Global.
Thank you.
My
Okay.
original shirt number.
Yeah.
My original shirt number 24 with the global on the end.
Great. I think Dan's gone and nicked your final
Yes.
quiz.
I know.
Final bit of button.
We were
advice.
going to end on a final piece of advice, but we've covered that
To be honest, we've
quite
covered
nicely.
a lot of things,
Yeah.
so,
Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you for joining us here today, then.
Yeah,
Been my
amazing.
pleasure.
It's been
Yeah,
amazing
thanks.
to have you. Thank
It's
you
been
very much.
fantastic.
Thank you so much for watching this latest episode of On the Grass, the Derbyshire FA podcast with us here at Derby Uni Footy Journos. Make sure to follow us on Instagram to get all the On the Grass updates and listen to all previous episodes on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Proper, don't you?